Alright, let's dive into something that's got the baseball world buzzing right now. So, here's the deal, the Angels just designated Jorge Soler for assignment. Yeah, that Jorge Soler, the guy who once led the AL in home runs. Crazy, right? But personally, I think this move is less about Soler and more about the bigger picture in baseball. It's a story of aging stars, shifting team strategies, and the brutal reality of the sport. Let's break it down. First off, what does this even mean? Designating a player for assignment is basically a team saying, "We're done with you." It's not a trade, it's not a release, it's a middle ground where the player is removed from the 40-man roster, and the team has a few days to figure out what's next. In Soler's case, it's pretty clear, he's likely heading for free agency, probably on a minor league deal. But what makes this really interesting is the timing. The trade deadline just passed, so the Angels couldn't shop him around. They're stuck with this move, and it feels like a last resort. Now, let's talk about Soler's performance. The guy is 34 years old, and his numbers this season are, well, not great. He's hitting .203 with just 12 home runs in 361 plate appearances. That's a far cry from his peak years. But here's the thing, Soler's decline isn't just about age. It's about the way the game has evolved. Pitchers are nastier than ever, analytics are dictating strategies, and players like Soler, who rely on raw power and a high strikeout rate, are becoming less valuable. In my opinion, this is a trend we're going to see more of. The league is punishing inefficiency, and Soler's swing hard or go home approach just isn't cutting it anymore. What many people don't realize is how much Soler's contact rate has tanked. He's making contact just 65.7% of the time, which is the third worst in the league. And when he does make contact, the ball isn't jumping off the bat like it used to. This raises a deeper question: how do teams value power hitters in today's game? If you're striking out a third of the time and not hitting for average, what's your role? Personally, I think the days of the one-dimensional slugger are numbered. The game is too competitive now. Another detail I find fascinating is Soler's contract. He's making $13 million this year, the final season of a 3-year, $42 million deal. That's a lot of money for a guy who's essentially a bench player at this point. But here's the kicker, no one is going to claim him on waivers. Teams aren't willing to take on that salary for a player who's not producing. What this really suggests is that the market for aging stars is drying up. Teams are smarter with their money, and they're not going to overpay for past performance. If you take a step back and think about it, Soler's situation is a microcosm of the modern MLB. Players are more replaceable than ever, and teams are ruthless about cutting ties when the numbers don't add up. It's not personal, it's business. But from my perspective, there's a human element here that's easy to overlook. Soler was once a World Series hero with the Braves. Now, he's being cut loose by a team that clearly doesn't see a future with him. It's a harsh reminder of how fleeting success can be in this sport. So, where does Soler go from here? My guess is he'll sign a minor league deal with a contender, hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. But even that feels like a long shot. The league has moved on, and players like Soler are struggling to keep up. One thing that immediately stands out is how quickly things can change in baseball. One year you're a star, the next you're fighting for a roster spot. It's a humbling reality. In closing, I think Soler's story is more than just a roster move. It's a reflection of where baseball is headed. The game is faster, smarter, and less forgiving. Players have to adapt or risk being left behind. Personally, I'll always remember Soler for his clutch moments, but this chapter feels like the end of an era. What do you guys think? Is this the right move for the Angels? And what does Soler's future look like? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.